This is why I decided to quit my career in automotive technology. In the end of the day, I realized this wasn't the path for me due to a lot of factors. But before I tell you why I decided to quit, let's start at the beginning of why I actually decided to get into it in the first place. And essentially it all started in high school. There was an automotive class at another school that I could go to and take the class. And it was an extra credit class in a way where it counted for multiple credits. But it was an automotive program. Learn the absolute basics of fixing cars when it came to getting them in the shop, inspecting them over, doing brakes, tires, and basic repairs and that kind of thing. And doing that class is honestly what kind of intrigued me to say that I actually wanted to go ahead and be an automotive technician. That was the thing that set it apart. So I decided to pursue a career in automotive. I set myself on a school to gain the education to get my associate's degree for a certain program, and the program was Toyota Lexus. Everything was great, learning a ton at school, super intuitive, and what I was doing the whole time was building my certifications, getting my ASC certifications. ASCs are Automotive Service Excellence, the standard basically in the automotive industry that says you know to do something on a certain area of the car, and still today employers look for that kind of thing. So I ended up passing a lot of those and getting a lot of those as well at the time. But I will say the major problem was my time actually at the dealership working. It was a co-op program, which meant you spent 3 months in school learning hands-on, and then 3 months working with your mentor and whatnot. And you're supposed to get on-the-job experience. And the whole mentor-student kind of thing is difficult because they don't want you to mess anything up. These are customer cars. You're only allowed to try so many things and do so many things yourself. So it's a weird system where until you actually go to school, until you actually certify in what you did and say that you can do what you do, then they'll actually go ahead and really let you do the things yourself. Unfortunately, the biggest problem in the dealership for me was the environment. I'd be in the shop day in, day out, starting at 8 o'clock in the morning and staying until 5 or 6 with a lunch break in the middle. And I worked with another mentor. I went back and forth. And even though I went to school and I was getting my certifications, I was doing everything correctly. In a way, I'm just trying to remember now because it was 4 years ago, so trying to relive what was happening, what I was thinking at that time. And it was difficult. Yeah, the environment was difficult for a lot of reasons. One of the reasons was when I looked at the people that were working there at the moment, they seemed to live in this world where they just went into work and didn't really enjoy it. They didn't enjoy what they were doing. They were there at the end of the day to get a paycheck. And they would argue about so many different things, saying how this isn't right. And when I asked, oh, how do we change this and how do we make this better? It just wasn't even something that was up for negotiation because it's a big corporation. I believe one of those things of not being able to make a change in a business when something is not working to the best of its ability is so frustrating. And of course, coming from an entrepreneurial background, my parents grew up with their business and I grew up in the business. So being a self-entrepreneur was in my blood. When things weren't working, we made changes just like that. It wasn't like we just can't do anything about it. That was the name of the game. You had to make changes to improve, to make more money. And working in a corporate company was like, if you don't have a certain title, you're not even going to get to say that you need to make this change or that this change could be something that's beneficial for the company at the end of the day. Just seeing the lifelessness in the people, in the workers there, the most appealing thing about the job was probably how much I could make. Sadly, at the end of the day, I have a passion for cars. I still have a passion for cars. I still fix them in my own time. I love how cars work. I think it's so fascinating with the systems and how everything's connected. But why I was going to go ahead and work and stay at that dealership was because of the amount of money they would bring in. And I think it was somewhere between 60 to 80K a year. And that was with either the certifications that I had coming out of school, what I could aspire to. When I look at it now, when I look at the work that I was doing when I was younger, 4 or 5 years ago, and how little I was getting paid to do this work, At least in the US, there's so many other jobs now where I've done so much less work, but yet have been paid so much more. And not necessarily because of the value I've provided. Really, like some jobs, they literally just pay more because it's luck in that way. So thinking about doing all strenuous things, all the things I did on the cars for other jobs, and then the extra things on top of that, just cleaning up the shop and whatnot, it didn't really feel like I was getting paid for what I was worth there. And of course, not having your certifications is literally having your certification is the thing that gets you paid more. So I was working towards that. And at the end of it, when everything was said and done and I graduated, it was really like there was no plan for me to advance in the dealership, to make more money. It seemed like I was literally going to school to work at a higher position in the company, to be a better technician, and more licensed, to do more jobs. And it felt like I didn't really have anyone there in management that cared and that showed that I was going to be on this path to do a certain thing. Regardless, if that would have changed my mind, then so be it. At the end of the day, that's what you need in a company, is people to care. And especially the people who are working and getting educated to try to get a better job inside that company, you definitely need to care. Those are the most important people because they could stay with you for the next 40 years. There's no way I would have ever done that, even if I made more money at the end of the day. I don't think it was gonna ever happen because of just my personality and myself and my wanting this to, one, travel the world, which that job was never gonna allow me to do that, and two, just being an entrepreneur, wanting to make money for myself. And I just hated the idea of someone telling me how much money I could make. That was horrible. It was a horrible feeling. So when time came, when I was done with my 2 years, my program, and it was time to go back to the dealership, I went back to the dealership, and I realized I'm making still the same amount of money. Technically, I had my certifications, but at the end of the day, it didn't feel like anyone really cared that I got my certifications, that I went to school, and that I took a chance myself. Granted, this is $24,000 later with college and everything. So I looked at what I was doing, and I didn't want to be stuck doing the same thing over and over, day out, in the same place, around people that I don't like spending time with, that are not going to push me to improve my life. And for some people, this is like, cars is second nature. I have some friends in my program that legitimately, it's like their life is gone without working on some kind of car, working on some kind of thing. Like that's their, bread and butter. That's their thing. And for me, it was something I did and I was working on it, but it was fine if I didn't have it. It was fine if I wasn't working on a car. I could do something else. And that's when I realized it's not something I need to live off. It was just something cool, a passion of mine, but it wasn't something I needed to do. Video, on the other hand, that's something I do all the time and I can't get away from. So at the end of the day, I submitted my notice and I said that I didn't want to work there. I didn't feel like it was the place for me, and I didn't feel like maybe it was the industry for me at the end of the day. And after that, I took a break from working a 9 to 5, and I had a bunch of free time for myself. Wasn't making much money, wasn't making any money, so I decided to get another job. I was working at a golf course for the summer, and that's when I saved up a bunch of money. Actually, more money than I was making in my other job with my certifications and everything like that. I worked at a golf course as a groundskeeper, and I was doing that for about, I'd say 2-3 months during the summer, and I saved up a bunch of money during the summer, and I booked a one-way ticket to Germany, and I didn't know when I was going to come back, which is a story for another day. The experience of why I decided to go to Germany, the 4 months that I stayed there, and everything of that nature. Totally another story for another day. But to wrap this up, in the end of the day, I realized the automotive industry wasn't for me. I went to school. I spent so much time learning about cars for my future, thinking that I was going to do this and do this thing, but it didn't work out. And it's okay. At the end, most of the time that does happen. with people in their 20s, Gen Z for sure. Majority of people don't use the degree that they went to college for in the first place. That's logical. And it's kind of funny when I look back on it too, because there was some hints, there were some telltale signs in the back of my head that it wasn't going to work out in a way. Because while I was in school, while I was studying with the automotive technology, I was also trying out multiple different side businesses to make extra money. Multiple different side businesses, whether it was Amazon FBA, like retail arbitrage, many different things. I was selling books on Amazon in my college dorm, trying to start another successful business to make me money. Because, I don't know, maybe it was my passion, or maybe because I thought that fixing cars wasn't going to make me enough money. I don't know. But regardless. And one of the really cool things came from me quitting that job and basically ending my career in automotive was I ended up finding video. And since then, I haven't looked back, and that is something I've been doing consistently since I quit the dealership. And I was doing it in the dealership a little bit as well, but becoming a videographer and working for myself, working for other brands, has allowed me to make a lot of money and travel the world at the same time. And I guess when I was considering what my dream life would look like, I think doing something with a video and being remote tapped into everything I was trying to do. And just from there, I'm so glad that I ended up finding it and going forward with it. So at the end of the day, if you're in the automotive industry, if you're trying to decide whether it's for you, whether it's not for you, there's some guys that were in my class that I could never see doing anything with social media or video, which is fine. It's not for everybody. For them, I can only see them working with a vehicle or working with a car for their entire life. And if they love it, then they love it. It's great. If they like that environment, they want to go out on the weekends when 5 o'clock hits and go to the bar and hang out with friends and do that and then clock in Monday morning. That's for a certain kind of people. We will need people to fix our cars for the rest of our life, themselves included. They'll need to fix their own cars as well. So it's not for everybody. But if you're going through school right now, or you're considering getting into video or something online, start doing it on the side when you're working at the dealership or in school studying or you're pursuing your degree or whatever it is, and tap into it and see if it's something, there's something there, because there's a lot of opportunity out there. And if I never took the risk to go ahead and say that I didn't want to work there anymore and go to Germany as well and book the one-way ticket, I probably would be living a life I don't want to live at this point. So that's the story behind why I quit the dealership. All right, guys, that is that. I will see you on the next one.